Welcome to OPW Live's AEW Revolution 2022 prediction show. Let's get into it. Alex, hit our intro. Alex, you and I here tonight representing OPW. We're looking at AEW Revolution 2022. This is a loaded card.
Yes,
it's always loaded because AEW only does it 4 times a year. So let's go through the matches, break them down a little bit. This show has been a long time coming, almost since November.
Yeah.
For even some of these matches when they started the build. And we're going to see hopefully some big payoffs this weekend. So I'm going to start with the pre-show. So 2 pre-show matches were announced for the buy-in on Wednesday night. So let's start with the first match. It is the Cold-Hearted Hook versus QT Marshall. I'm sorry. Don't at me, QT. This had been kind of brewing since Hook's debut back in December. QT Marshall believes that he's not getting the credit he deserves for Hook's popularity because, he's the one who trained Hook before Team Taz came along. So that's kind of like the genesis of this feud. Hook is undefeated on AEW television. Does QT Marshall give him his first loss? Alex, you're first.
No, he doesn't. I think Hook's going to win this. I do want to give them credit for something, though, because I don't think I've ever been quite as invested in a storyline that QT Marshall has been in.
Yeah.
Since here, but I do like the basis of the feud being, that he did do a lot of the training prior to Team Taz's kind of getting into that. So that's pretty neat storytelling. But yeah,
I actually think QT is in a great storytelling position because everyone knows he's the coach. He's the guy who trains the young guys.
Right.
So as the young guys kind of surpass him, he's the natural first feud as he gets jealous and how dare you surpass me? How dare you not thank me for all I've done for you? That kind of thing. With that said, Hook is absolutely winning. It's not even a prediction. It's a spoiler. So, but Hook's winning. It's going to be awesome. Hook has gotten over just in such a weird way. I didn't expect it when he first showed up on TV. Let's do the other pre-show match, and that is the Galaxy's greatest alien, Chris Statlander, versus legit Layla Hirsch. This feud has been going on since the fall as well. Layla was getting frustrated with losing, was blaming her losses on Chris Statlander and Red Velvet, and then Layla turned heel. Chris Statlander and Red Velvet already had a match with Chris Statlander won, but since then Layla Hirsch has been undefeated, and she is, she's tired of talking, as she said on Wednesday. And that's kind of where we're at this feud. So I guess I get to go first. I'm going with my heart, and my heart says legit Layla Hirsch. Legit Layla is legitimately one of my favorite women in AEW's women division. There's just something about her that feels so real compared to a lot of the other women rosters. So I'm really happy that she's finally getting a pay-per-view match, that she's getting the push, getting more exposure, getting more time on Dynamite and Rampage. I want to see her at the top of the division. Alex.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and go the other way. Go with Chris Statlander. I do want to make my one note on this. It's been an interesting feud. There's been a little bit there's been some controversy in regards to the comments that Chris has made in her promo,
right.
And I don't know. It's almost weird because now it feels like Chris is turning heel. That's what it feels like, just from the way that especially on Dynamite, the way her promo went on Dynamite felt like she was starting to turn heel, which feels kind of weird considering she's still a part of Best Friends. But that aside, I am gonna go with Chris for as far as this particular match goes. But yeah, it's been an interesting feud.
Okay. The one thing I am worried about is current events might force Layla's character presentation change, but other than that, I think Layla's going to win. All right, so let's get to the main show then. The main event, as it so speaks, but not the main event of the show. So let's start with the triple threat match. The Andrade Hardy Family Office, which is Andrade El Idolo, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy, will be teaming up to take on the trio of Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and it's Sting in a Tornado 6-man tag match.
Yep.
So Tornado 6-man tag, which is not something I don't think we see very often in wrestling. Usually, we have seen the Tornado tag a couple times.
Right.
But this is going to be something interesting, I think. What's going to be interesting is that at the time of this recording, Rampage has not happened yet. And Sammy Guevara is defending the TNT title on Rampage against Allin and Andrade. So that could definitely throw a wrinkle, especially if Allin wins. It could cause that team to implode. But, before I give more of my thoughts on the match, it is your turn to pick. So the AHFO or Darby, Sammy, and Sting? DSS.
This is surprising. This is surprisingly difficult to pick. There's plenty that can be said about the status of AHFO right now, but I do find, I don't know, it's been interesting to see Andrade kind of folded into that particular mix of characters, so to speak. But I don't know, like Darby, Sting, and Sammy. Like you've got three big talents there. Obviously, one of them being the TNT champion. It's gonna be interesting. But as far as a winner, I'm gonna go with what I feel is a safe pick. I'm gonna go with Darby, Sting, and Sammy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean there is an interesting dynamic, especially if Guevara were to lose the TNT title before Sunday, and that's what makes this match a little for me, because if he loses it on Friday, whether it's to Andrade or to Allin, that tanks the team on Sunday.
True.
I also think that the Hardy family office is soon to be no more. It might just be the Andrade family office or whatever he calls it. I think Matt Hardy's on the way out of that faction. Potentially because Jeff Hardy's coming into AEW. I think he's eligible to now. I'm not entirely sure of that. But they've certainly been playing it up on BTE that Matt Hardy is erratic. And so the Young Bucks are trying to get him off the show. Get him off of AEW because of Jeff Hardy's accents. He's just like his brother. Not that BTE is like all-inclusive storytelling. Like
Right.
In BTE, Adam Cole is now like really good friends with Adam Silver and John Silver and Alex Reynolds.
Yeah, which it's not playing.
So it's not all it's not all canon to the TV show. But I've kind of said a bunch of things to just go ahead and pick Darby, Sammy, and Sting because I'm trying to win a prediction contest, and I think it's really hard to justify a Sting loss ever at this point.
Right.
I don't think he's lost in AEW, has he?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check that, but to my knowledge, he hasn't.
I think he's technically undefeated. If he's lost, it's maybe been a tag match. I mean, he doesn't do anything but tag matches anymore. But
just picturing it as like, well, I mean, technically that probably qualified him for a world title shot. I don't know.
Number one contender Sting versus Adam Page or Adam Cole, baby. Make it a triple threat. All right. Okay, let's go on to the next match listed on the card, and that is the face of the Revolution ladder match. This match is going to be Keith Lee versus Orange Cassidy versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks versus Wardlow and versus Christian Cage or Ethan Page. At the time of this recording, Rampage has not happened yet. We don't know who the final participant is, so I have suspicions of who it could be. This has been a match that traditionally always produced like a more unique winner. Scorpio Sky won last year, which kind of prefaced his heel turn shortly afterwards. But he was like in the ladder match with a bunch of like upper mid carders and semi main eventers. So it was kind of an unusual thing. I guess we have two questions to decide: is it Cage or Page joining the match, and then who's winning? So It's my turn to predict. I'm going to say Cage joins the match because I don't see why he wouldn't. He's Christian Cage, right? My winner pick for the match, though, is going to be Wardlow. I think it would be a shame for him not to win this match with how much time they've invested on him on AEW recently. Getting the Powerbomb Symphony over, really teasing that breakup with MJF, potentially taking it out on the chairman himself. It would be a shame, as much as I think there's a lot of hype behind Keith Lee, and as much as I love Orange Cassidy, and I would want the win every day of the week. I think it's going to be Wardlow. Alex?
I dig that. As far as
So 2 questions. Cage or Page is question number 1, just to
right, as far as
know.
so for that one, I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go Ethan Page to win to go into the match. But your reasoning is so solid, so strong, even that I'm actually gonna agree with you and say that Wardlow's gonna win the match entirely because I do think.
Oh man, we have 6 participants and we're both choosing the same one. Oof.
Because
That's unusual.
there's something particularly in the way things happened on Dynamite this week that really has me thinking this could actually be the breaking point for Wardlow because he's already done the whole thing, like because MJF was even telling him, if you go and win that TNT championship or you go, I'll let you keep it or whatever. Like there was that whole thing and everything that kind of came off the back of that. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and then he said, "But you're not going to, so I don't have to worry about
it." Exactly. I think we're well on the path to that moment now. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Wardlow as well.
Okay. All right. So doubling up on forward to next, and that is a very heated rivalry match of Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. It's been a battle of getting beat up by 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, and then getting mad at each other about it. The setup has always been weird for me, but then finally having that war of words they were teasing for a couple months. There was that Jericho, of course, health scare in the middle of that in November. I think Eddie Kingston also had a minor injury over the early of the winter too that kind of really pushed this back. But I'm sure Revolution was always the target for this anyway. But it is your turn to choose first, Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston.
I gotta go with my heart on the pick. I'm gonna go with Eddie Kingston to win this. The one note I want to make on it is, man, it's I was watching the some of the sort of verbal sparring between those two the last couple weeks, and I don't know, it feels weird to hear Jericho saying some of the stuff that he's saying in these promos, but I feel like Eddie Kingston's been made all the stronger, to continue showing just how good he is on the mic.
Okay. This I have been thinking about this one because on one hand it's like for Eddie Kingston, if not now, then when?
Right.
Like he's lost every major feud since he's joined AEW. I don't think he's won any of his feuds unless he was helping Jon Moxley. But even then, it was he's always been kind of the punching bag. As talented as he is, he's spent a lot of time since he joined AEW putting over everyone else. And maybe that's just his role. But so again, the question I'm asking myself, if not now, then when? Had I predicted first, I think I would have chose Kingston. But in the spirit of what you're doing here, I also kind of get this feeling that because Chris Jericho hasn't won a lot of feuds recently either, he's kind of been putting over people, that maybe Chris Jericho is going to be wheeled back in a little bit, get this win over Eddie Kingston, get another main event shot. I don't think he'll win the title again, but I think we'll see him kind of going after the AEW title again because he was, Le Champion, and I think he has a story with Adam Page, and he can put on a great match with Adam Cole if that title change happens. So I'm going to pick Chris Jericho.
Okay, I dig it.
Even though I think Eddie Kingston should win. Next up for us is another sort of grudge match. One of these men tried to team up with the other of these men. I am, of course, talking about the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan. Oh gosh, Bryan Danielson. Wow.
Still
Woo!
can't get used to it, I know.
Still can't get used to it. Um, I mean, it's WWE's fault for like just inverting his surnames and being like, "Yep, that's his name. It's Daniel Bryan," you know. But Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, trying to recruit Jon Moxley to bring violence into AEW. And I got a bit of a side here because the House of Black is doing the exact same thing, so it's kind of weird. Like this is AEW sometimes runs into this problem where no one's checking what other people are doing, and so now we have Bryan and Jon Moxley talking about violence, and then we have the House of Black talking about how violence is everything, and it's just repetitive. And we've seen this happen before. I wish someone. I know they don't have script writers, but they really need to have someone like check these things out. But anyway, I digress. So Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. I can't do the John thing that Justin Roberts does. He's got like something like that. If Bryan Danielson wins, Jon Moxley is supposed to join Bryan in training the youngins in violence. If Jon Moxley wins, I'm not sure what's supposed to happen. I guess Bryan Danielson's very bitter about that if that happens. But I believe it is my turn to pick first.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I see two routes. I think the obvious route is Jon Moxley loses and then, reluctantly joins Bryan Danielson in kind of like their faction of violence, potentially pulling away some young people from other factions to join them, like a Daniel.
Right.
I am going to pick Jon Moxley. I think as interesting it would to see them team up and do this thing that Bryan has suggested. I feel like we're being teased with that so we can get this kind of like match, and then they're going to still go at it afterwards. I think, and they've also been trying to tell the story that Jon has never beaten Bryan. I'm not sure if that's actually true or not. It's really 20 years of their careers, but since that's a story they're telling, I cannot see why that would not change now. So I'm going to pick Jon Moxley. Alex?
That is fair. But I feel very inclined to go the other way. Because there's a couple things to it. Like I feel like Jon Moxley, for example, is the kind of guy that they do the stipulation of if you lose a match, then you go and do the thing, right? I see Jon Moxley being the kind of guy to lose a match and then no, I'm not doing the thing. uh like I like to think of him as almost an agent of chaos of sorts, where he's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I don't play by those rules. But
Okay.
yeah, and I think it's also possible that, like, especially if they, with them playing up the idea, them playing up that Ryan hasn't beaten Mox, like there's or other yeah, right, the other way, the Mox hasn't beaten Ryan, that like there's a chance that this story could continue on. And again, and maybe this is just kind of how I've been brought up as far as watching wrestling, but some stories can continue on almost regardless of who actually wins like a given match. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Brian on this one.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. The next match is the TBS title match. The champion, the undefeated Jade Cargill, is defending her TBS championship against Ty Conte. Jade Cargill laid out an open challenge last week. Ty Conte accepted. That's how we got here. Ty Conte is also she's either the number one or the number two ranked in the division. Sometimes, the rankings don't actually matter most of the time. But she is highly ranked in the division for what that's worth. And should be a good match. Alex, it's your pick.
Oh, they've made a big push with Jade as TBS champion, and like the whole build up towards it as well, like throughout the tournament and stuff. It's really hard to pick against the champion in a situation like this. So I am not going to fight that feeling. I'm going to go ahead and pick Jade Cargill to retain.
Right. I'm gonna do the same. Jade Cargill. It's too early in the reign. If someone's gonna be her undefeated streak, it's not gonna be Ty Conte. It needs, someone's gonna be built up to do it. It's not just gonna be, oh, we made this match last week. We're gonna, do the title change now. It's gonna be someone building up to it. Someone
Right.
making it their mission to get the TBS title to defeat the undefeated Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
Well, when that story gets told is when I'd be worried about her title chances and her undefeated streak. But that story's not being told this week. So, okay. Next match on the card is a very, 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 very awful match. And it is the dog collar match between CM Punk and Maxwell Jacob Friedman MJF. I say awful because it's going to be bloody and gory and all that stuff. We saw MJF hang CM Punk on Wednesday with the dog collar. I always thought that the dog collar was a really bad choice for this. Like, I thought maybe Last Man Standing would have been more appropriate for this feud. And I don't like the person tied to the other person gimmick matches. It just doesn't do it for me because the chain is going to be comically long. Or when they did the bull rope matches, the bull rope is comically long,
Right.
and not really if this was like a real dog collar match, it should be this long, and they should just be attached to each other. But obviously, you can't do that. That's not safe.
Right.
Someone would honestly break their neck. And I just have a lot to say about this match. I think, everyone, the whole world. Let's just talk about this match for a few minutes.
Yeah.
'Cause I think there's been a lot of stuff going on in this feud.
Yeah, if I can interject for just a moment.
Yeah.
Because I there's one thing I've noticed a lot about CM Punk, since he's debuted in AEW, he's done a lot of callbacks to different things. More often than not, the callbacks he does are to sort of classic feuds in wrestling, or even some of his favorite feuds. Like, he's done callbacks to Bret Hart versus Diesel.
Right.
There was a match he did recently where there was a callback to that. I think it might have been. I think it was against Wardlow. There was a callback or two there. So there's a callback or two in his match against Darby Allin. And in this case, this is the callback here is an interesting one, and some of it's already built. A good chunk of it's already built into the feud itself because
Right.
MJF has, he did that promo last week where he was talking about he basically kind of bore his soul, so to speak, and all this stuff. You realize that there's this sort of connection between him and CM Punk from back when MJF was a kid, basically, But I think the dog collar match itself, and it's the main reason I would say that they're even doing the match itself, is because it's a callback to his feud with Raven in Ring of Honor. So I think that's
Actually, I think it's a callback from a Roddy Piper feud.
Well,
because MJF compares himself to Roddy Piper.
This is true. I'm just saying,
he says he's Piper in Portland. He's bigger than Piper in Portland. He's bigger than Punk in Chicago.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's the real callback, I think.
Yeah. Well,
there might be elements of Punk and Raven in the match itself, but there's not elements of the feud. I don't think.
That's fair. I guess I'm just thinking.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Okay, but yeah. So that's the thing about it, is that there's a lot of.
Other than I think Punk mentioned that match when he said it was the most brutal match of my career was this dog collar match.
Yes. Yeah. So so there's callbacks to his career as well as historical stuff as well, which is always fun. So yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, this Wednesday kind of deflated me a little bit. I thought the kind of twist that MJF put on the feud last week was just so brilliant for his character, because it gave it a level of depth that it didn't have before. Because so far, MJF's character is, I'm an asshole because I'm better than you. And then last week it was sort of turning to us, I'm an asshole because my hero, quit wrestling, and I reacted in the worst possible way to that. And I thought that gave MJF some depth of character. And I knew he was going to definitely like low blow and beat up Punk on Wednesday after Punk apologized. I was hoping he would blame Punk for it, like this is all your fault, that kind of thing, instead of doing what he did, which says, "Haha, how could you all believe me?" Or "You're all so stupid." Like that's not interesting. I had discussion with some people who are like, "Oh, well, that was great." I was like, "That's the obvious storytelling beat," and I know, and that's kind of why I don't like it.
Right. I think
Um,
it's not even. I will say I don't think it's so much the story beat itself that's not great. Like, because I think that that on its own is it is good storytelling. But I am kind of with you in terms of the timing of it. But then
mhm.
again, I think that's because of how much time there was in this particular build. Like they did certain elements of the build leading up to the past couple weeks, but a lot of it also seemed to center around teaming CM Punk with Sting and Darby. So which like we saw even that kind of coming back into play on
Yeah.
Dynamite. But I think if like my thing personally, like if they had done the moment with the low blow and like the do all that.
Mhm.
If they had one extra week in between the two, I think it would have worked out even better than it did. Like again, because to me that moment was good, but I do kind of agree that maybe it felt a little almost rushed, just in terms of like because you just had the week
Maybe.
before doing the whole thing where you at least start to question.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they give that more time too, it was just
Yeah,
more time to breathe. But
exactly.
I was like, because the promo that MJF cut last week, I really felt they were hinting up to that greatly throughout the feud. When MJF was constantly talking about how Punk left, how Punk quit, and how like that was the worst thing he could have done. Like to me, like that was like okay. MJF's promo last week was like, perfect character motivation. MJF is an asshole because his hero, CM Punk, and as cheesy as this and soap opera as this is wrestling. It's supposed to be that way. So yeah, I know it's not realistic that the sole reason that MJF is an asshole is because his feelings were hurt by CM Punk quitting wrestling, but this is supposed to be dramatic and over the top. MJF as a character is supposed to be over the top with his motivations. And his motivation just boiling down to being, haha, I tricked you, I'm an asshole, I'm the devil, is a little deflating in my mind. With that said, I do want to get to the prediction. CM Punk versus MJF. It's definitely a tough prediction for me. CM Punk hasn't lost, right?
I believe he has actually. He lost
Well,
to if I'm remembering this correctly because I actually missed
all right,
when
no,
that
he
got.
already
Yeah,
did
he
lose to
lost
MJF.
to
You're right. You're
MJF,
right.
but there
I'm
was
like,
all the
I forgot about that. Wow.
there was all the controversy. Well, there was the bit of controversy as to how he actually won that match,
Yeah,
which is kind of what led to this particular matchup for
I
the pay
know.
per view, which
I
which
think
makes it even
MJF
harder to
should
pick.
win, but I am so afraid of 50-50 booking because I've been conditioned to be afraid of this for, 20 odd years of WWE. And sometimes it's hard to get those impulses. So MJF should win so that he can become the number one contender to Adam Page or Adam Cole or, both of them maybe. I don't know. I think it's time to, but I could also see him losing if Wardlow wins the Face of the Revolution, because then they finally blow off Wardlow versus MJF. Problem with doing that is it kicks MJF further down. Oh my gosh, there's just no good outcomes here. Oh, and I say that I'm gonna pick Punk after saying that. I think CM Punk's gonna get his win back. MJF's gonna take out his loss on Wardlow. They're gonna pop that feud. Uh, I mean it'll be good, but I was hoping that I'll get to Adam. I'll get to what I want hoping later, but for now, I'm gonna pick Punk. Go ahead.
See, the great thing about all this discussion is that I knew darn well that whoever you were going to pick, I was going to go with the other person for the sake of the
Right.
prediction contest. So that makes it a lot easier for me to just go ahead and say, yeah. I think if we're lucky, AEW will once again not have to go the route of 50-50 booking, and I am going to go ahead and just pick MJF to actually get like what's the word I'm looking for? A more solid win, a more emphatic win, like a proper, like a win without like
I mean,
so many asterisks next to it.
like, so cheating the win is fine for heels. It's proper.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
but I mean, I'm just saying, like, it was,
it's proper even if it does give the face, grievances. It's still like a
yeah.
real win
Well, I'm just,
in
yeah.
my eyes.
Well, I guess I'm just saying, like, a more definitive win, I guess, would probably be the best
Yeah.
way to put it.
Okay.
Like, and like to your point, that definitive win over Punk would likely shoot him all, much further up the rankings and closer to an actual like contendership deal.
hmm Okay. A couple matches left. Let's go ahead. The next match on the card is the AEW Tag Team Championship match. It is going to be a triple threat tag between the champions Jurassic Express, which is Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, versus the Young Bucks, and versus Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. Of course, the Young Bucks we know are Mick and Nat Jackson, just so we're all kind of clear on who's going on here. Um, you know, Jurassic Express has kind of taken a back seat in this build to this match. It's really been about the Bucks and Red Dragon colliding for the first time and pining over the heart of Adam Cole. This like little high school cafeteria feud that they've got going on. I love Adam Cole. No, I love Adam Cole more. And then Reynolds and John Silver like, well, we sleep with him, so that's a callback.
Yeah.
So really, they love Adam Cole way more. Just saying. Britt Baker has to kick him out of his bed.
Oh, man.
Okay. Anyway, you're up first. You're still thinking about Adam Cole in bed with Alex and John, right?
I am. My mind is so blown away by that prospect that I've forgotten what match we're going over right now. You said Young Bucks versus.
Again versus Jurassic Express.
Right, that's right. Okay, that's right. Because we just saw the couple tag team battle royals to determine. Okay. Okay. Yeah. This this is a little tough because like there's always there's always a temptation when the Young Bucks are involved in a match to just go with the Young Bucks for the win.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a big deal when Jurassic Express beat them for the won the titles.
Yeah, they beat Lucha Bros, not
when they beat
Bucks.
when they beat the Lucha Bros. Excuse me. Yeah.
Just
I mean, it was a
facts clear on this channel.
Yeah, sorry. It was a big deal when they won the titles.
I get you.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. But you're right. The situation with the Young Bucks and Red Dragon is a curious one because of the kind of getting the attention of Adam Cole and you kind of see the various things that play there because Adam Cole is of course part of the elite or the super elite or whatever they're calling it right at the moment. But like Red Dragon, friends with Adam Cole for a long time. I'm gonna kind of this is one because it's a title match. Sometimes the safest bet is to just go with the champions to retain. And all things considered, I think I'm gonna go with the safe bet and go with Jurassic Park to retain, in the hopes that
Jurassic Express, you mean?
Sorry, I'm gonna go with the safe pick and go with Jurassic Express to retain, in the hopes that this furthers the divide between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks.
Okay. I do see a scenario where maybe, Red Dragon does win the titles. We did see Kyle O'Reilly kind of screw over Nick Jackson in the Battle Royal 2 weeks ago. And then they came back and helped them win the Casino Battle Royale because we had 2 different Battle Royales for whatever reason. With that said, I am going to pick Jurassic Express. Even though they've kind of been the sideshow to this tag in the tag team division right now because of this feud between these two, I think that the Young Bucks and Red Dragon is going to be part of a bigger elite sort of thing. Maybe with Kenny Omega coming back, whenever he's ready. I know he's still recovering from surgeries and stuff, but AEW is not afraid of really long-term storytelling. Sometimes to their benefit and other times to their detriment. So it's a story that definitely could be dragged out into the fall when Kenny Omega's ready. So I'm gonna pick Jurassic Express for tonight for the Revolution.
Right.
All right. Let's go to the first of 2 World Championship matches on the card on Sunday night. The first match is, of course, the AEW World Women's Championship match with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I hoped I did that right for the camera. Defending her AEW World Women's title against Thunder Rosa. This is a match a year in the making. We had their lights out match, first women's main event of AEW Dynamite, first lights out match for the women as well, which was very highly rated. I think it was like women's match of the year, if I recall correctly. If certainly not, it was definitely a contender. But it was definitely the match that, even though Thunder Rosa won, it was the match that propelled Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to the top of the women's division, and she shortly racked up the necessary wins in the ranking system.
Right.
I think it's time for a title change here. Especially since we're not seeing title changes the rest of the night. I think Thunder Rosa is time, and I'm hoping that AEW is not going to book themselves into mega title reigns forever. I really want to see more title changes. The TNT title has really benefited from it. The TBS title is going to be locked up for a while. Every single AEW World title reign has been locked up for a long time. So, this is the time. I also think that Thunder Rosa is, the only person who can beat Dr. Britt Baker at this point, because they've had that story going on for so long. So I'm going to pick Thunder Rosa as your new AEW World Women's Champion. Alex.
I dig that. I dig that a lot. And I'm inclined to agree with you. But I'm gonna pick Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to retain just in case.
DMD, you gotta.
Just in case, because again, but to your point, this is a match that could go either way because of the nature of their rivalry over the past few months, even somewhere in the ballpark of a year. I want to say it feels like. I could be wrong, but it feels like that because we had Thunder Rosa coming in. I still remember how big a deal it was that she was coming in as NWA Women's Champion, and having those those matches against various opponents, including Dr. Britt Baker early on, and we saw the feud heat up quite a bit over the past few months. So it's certainly possible that Thunder Rosa will win this, but me. If I feel safe picking a champ to retain, I'm gonna pick the champ to retain, and that's what I'm gonna do here.
All right, well, we'll have to challenge you on that because we're gonna go to our last match of the night. It is the AEW World Title on the line. The champion Hangman Adam Page defending against the challenger Adam Cole Bay. Adam Cole is undefeated in AEW except for that one loss to Orange Cassidy that doesn't count against his record because lights out. And Danhausen cursed him, so is it really even a loss? It's definitely a loss. Orange Cassidy beat him. I love it. So Adam Cole versus Adam Page. You are up first to pick. Champion retained, new title, new champion. What do you think?
Well, here's the other bit that I actually purposely waited until now to say. I just need you to picture with me for a moment. It's the end of the match. We have a winner, and we have your winner as being We have a winner, and it ends up being Adam Cole, baby. We have a new champion, and who comes out to celebrate? But all of the rest of the Super Elite, or including his wife, still the women's champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I'm just saying, power couple. That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm going with Adam Cole.
Girlfriend, they're not married, but yeah.
Well, I'll have to look that up. I'm pretty sure they're either. I'm pretty sure they're at least engaged. I'll look.
I'm not sure they're engaged. Anyway, whatever.
Anyways, the
All right,
point
yeah,
is they
you're
are a
looking for the
power
power
couple.
couple
So
ending of the
yeah,
night.
so Adam
So
Cole
Adam Cole,
to
Bebe
win.
winning.
Yeah, that's me breaking my almost rule of picking the champ to retain. It's so that I can say that Adam
Man,
Cole's gonna win this.
here's the thing. I was gonna pick Adam Cole, but now I'm not going to.
Booked you into
The
a
reason I was
quarter.
gonna pick Adam Cole, a couple of reasons. One, because then Orange Cassidy has a win over the new champion, and that's the natural first feud, I think. Two, I'm trying to will in existence some title changes in AEW. My gosh. There's one thing, there's one weakness they're having is like building these unbeatable champions because it just kind of wrecks the storytelling of the rest of the division. We're seeing that with Dr. Britt Baker right now. She has, if she defeats Thunder Rosa, who's left besides Jade Cargill? They're not going to put against her. There's really no one left. And that was kind of the problem we had with Kenny Omega, with his long reign, with Jon Moxley before him, with Chris Jericho before him. They had to sign new guys to, like Jon Moxley was signed to beat Chris Jericho, and then Kenny Omega kind of was able to beat Jon Moxley because they hadn't faced each other, and so I also think that title changes just benefit the title. I mean, I really want to see the title on like the kind of the pillars of AEW right now, not the young pillars that they coined, but like I'd like to see Adam Cole in the title. I'd also like to see Orange Cassidy have the title. I'd like to see MJF have the title. And that can't happen if we're going to be married to these long feuds and title reigns. With that said, you picked Adam Cole, so I'm going to pick Hangman Adam Page to retain. Maybe MJF will get his shot after all if he beats CM Punk, even though I didn't predict that outcome. Yeah, Adam Page to retain. Maybe some Dark Order shenanigans with the Super Elite. Definitely some Dark Order shenanigans. Because the Dark Order kills kind of spinning their wheels there.
Yeah.
And that's how we'll close the show. Actually, no. There's going to be a bonus question here, tiebreaker question.
Oh boy.
Boy. All right. So we always like to do surprises. There's lots of surprise debuts, surprise appearances. I'm going to specifically hone in on one particular thing. On Wednesday night, some big news happened that I'm sure we have a video up for over somewhere above my head about Tony Khan purchasing Ring of Honor. And so here is our bonus prediction, and I'll let you go first. One person from the former Ring of Honor who shows up at the pay-per-view as a surprise something. Surprise appearance. Maybe they insert themselves into the Face of the Revolution match. That's an opportunity. Maybe they confront a champion of some sort. All right, one person.
I'm gonna go with a fairly easy one. I might be off on this, but I gotta go with. I think it's arguably one of the two people that are the ROH World Champion. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Gresham, though. He's been doing quite a bit outside of outside of Ring of Honor since since Final Battle. Notably, he did the pure rules match against Chris Sabin on Impact. The No Surrender, I believe, was the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that pay-per-view.
That was 2 weeks ago?
Closer. It was a bit ago. I'm trying to remember the exact. Oh no, I think it was Hard to Kill was the pay-per-view because it was.
I don't know. It was the last one.
Yeah,
it was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So, well, no, this was back in like January, I think. That's the key. But anyways.
No, it's already March, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the days just go by. But he had a really good match with Sabin for the title. He also had a really good match. He's had some really good matches over on like various indie promotions, including his own Terminus. I believe he had one at the first Terminus show that they had I believe was last month, or maybe that was anyways, he's been doing a lot of stuff outside of Ring of Honor to bring a lot of he and to his credit as well, Bandito have both kind of treated the ROH title as a sort of traveling world title type thing, kind of like NWA did back in 2018, prior to like All In and the 70th anniversary pay-per-view there. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with Jonathan Gresham just because I think like they made the announcement regarding Ring of Honor. It makes a lot of sense to have one of the world champions on the show.
All right, I'm thinking about that as well as a championship. If you hadn't picked Gresham, I was hoping you were going to make some of a more of a niche pick. I was going to pick Gresham, but I think the person, or rather people, I'm going to pick are another pair of names who are very synonymous with Ring of Honor, and that would be the Briscoe brothers.
Hmm.
Maybe to add a wrinkle to the Elite and Red Dragon thing, maybe just to show up to say, hey, we're here. FTR is like the type of team that likes to challenge, like, have the dream matches with other tag teams. And I feel like Briscoes and FTR is a natural match. Certainly you could set that up with a pay-per-view appearance. So I'm going to pick the Briscoes. I think they're ROH personified, and they haven't shown up in Impact, right? To my knowledge,
Right. They
so
no.
they're kind of just floating around right now.
There's only been a few select people from ROH.
Yeah. So they're not the ones doing the Honor No More thing right now. So I'm thinking like they're free and around. So I'm thinking, the Briscoes. AEW is very big on tag team wrestling. I think that's a natural fit. So I'm gonna pick the Briscoes.
All right. Take it.
All right. With that is our AEW Revolution 2022 prediction show. You can check us out on all things Occupy Pro Wrestling at occupyprowrestling.com, somewhere below us. And then you can check us out on the socials at Power, the number 2, the Smarks. We're on YouTube, a Twitter, a Twitch, an Instagram, right? TikTok, OnlyFans. No.
No need to start rumors at the end of the video. No.
Woo. All right. Well, I am Chris from OPW Live. That is Alex at OPW Live. And we'll see you next time.